Do you live ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is opening day for college baseball. Some games across the country already underway. Some breakfast and baseball happening. ECU will get underway at 4 o'clock inside Clark LeClaire Stadium, taking on Xavier. The Musketeers roll into town. We have an opening day special here. We'll talk some ECU baseball later in the show. We're also going to put together our all-time Cliff Goblin lineup on a budget, so looking forward to that. We put out that in association with Carolina Curveball on Thursday evening. I've got a lot of good responses on that, so looking forward to that. Some huge news out of East Carolina. Contract extension for ECU AD John Gilbert, and also head coach Blake Harrell getting a revised contract on the football front. We'll discuss that here in a few moments. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, X. Got a question, comment, concern? Drop it in the chat. We'll get to it over the course of the next hour. We've got a full house today. We were at the big table, the talk of the town table. Let's introduce our cast. Directly to my left, he is our usual Friday guest. He is Bobby Harward. He's rocking not only the powder purple ECU jersey, which, by the way, looks a lot better, just jersey, no pants on you. I don't like the pants. Looks too Eastery, but I think the jersey looks good, and then you also got the USA headband and sunglasses. Looking sharp, man.
I appreciate it. I was telling y'all before the show, I'm a little torn on who to support today. I guess I'm supporting both. I was torn on what to wear because it is opening day, which is special here in Greenville and for all these ECU alums. But then also with the Olympics going on, USA Hockey with a big win yesterday. Wanted to support America. I mean, we all are Americans after all.
Are we sure? Wags, yeah. Jonathan Wagner. Are you also an American?
Can confirm I am.
Can confirm. Jonathan Wagner may or may not be an ECU fan. By the way, he has secured his season tickets for ECU baseball, so I think that solidifies him as an ECU fan. But welcome into the show in person. Is obviously a former Hoist the Colors intern, now with On3 Sports, the insider of college baseball over at On3, but also part of the Bucks on the Pond podcast. I'm so used to seeing you virtually these days, Wags. It's good to see you in person again.
Yeah, it feels weird, and it'll feel weird to see you in the press box again. I know I made my prediction. I'll be here for 5 games in the press box this season. I know you and Philip don't believe me.
No shot.
1 out of 5. I'll be back next week, too, and it's the best time of the year, so I'm pumped to be back.
You could just come back tomorrow and knock out 2 more, and then you're at 3.
I could.
Whoa. That's cheating. No. 5 separate appearances, not 5 games. He said 5 appearances.
I was trying to give him an easy.
No, we're not. No, this moron last year said he was coming in for 2 games and he didn't show up at all. No. We are doing nothing to help him reach his number. No. Stephen, just your mic's muted if you make a comment like that again.
I do agree with Philip, although I did come once last year.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Opening day.
That's right. You did.
Philip, how you doing out there? Are you ready?
I was good till you ticked me off.
Yeah.
I was about to say, he seems hot.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, man. Opening day. And you know what? We're going to be doing the final hour leading into opening day, watching USA women's hockey play their first knockout stage game against Italy. So Wags and I are going to be watching that in the press box for an hour leading into the what's it called? Into the ECU baseball game.
Into the ECU baseball game, 4 o'clock first pitch, which, by the way, according to sources, Xavier may be down a few players. We'll get into that more when we talk opening day in our next segment. All right, before we get to the big news, we had a discussion right before we took the air. When would Jonathan Wagner's first UNC comment come? And it's already here. UNC lovers in the chat. I don't know how this all started, Wags, but we give you a hard time for being a UNC guy, even though you're really not.
Yeah, I also really have no idea where it started, but it has been hot and heavy ever since. But, yeah, just for the record, I am an ECU fan. I grew up a UNC basketball fan, but I stopped caring about college basketball for a while. And once I got to ECU, it was all ECU football, basketball, baseball, nothing ever since. I know you people don't believe me, but it is the truth.
Who was the commenter, out of curiosity, because we had a wager on that as well?
Josh Jail Josh. I don't know who that is. We get like random usernames on YouTube now instead of their actual names. So, and Hunter says Bobby has no pants on. No, Bobby is wearing pants. I'm saying he doesn't have the ECU baseball pants on, which to me is like too much.
I kind of like the purple on purple, but I'm just saying.
I think it looks better on the soft. I like the softball. The girls look
good.
better in it than the boys, I think.
I agree.
With it being lavender and not purple. Be different when it's purple. Also, by the way, Parker Eason texted me and said that he was upset that neither you nor I mentioned that we have a date with him after the show as part of the lead into ECU baseball. He's very upset. So, sorry, Parker.
We weren't sure if he was coming to that point.
It's
so
true.
that's my
Yeah.
excuse.
You said you were a maybe, Parker. We knew this was a Wags and I date. We didn't know you were going to make it a,
Now it's going to be a
report.
triple.
Yeah, triple date.
Triple deal. All right, big news. Tough to segue from triple date three gentlemen into.
Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so there you go.
Doubleheader and Valentine's Day. Nothing goes better than that. All right, the big news out of ECU today. Board of Trustees meeting this morning to finalize the big news that John Gilbert, ECU Director of Athletics, has been extended 3 years. His contract extension was set to expire in December of 2026. So obviously you can't just, I guess you can let the contract just run out, but not really a decision you see much in athletics these days. So they had to make a decision, extend or let it go. They extend him through 2029. John Gilbert also in unison with that, going through 2029 his contract. Blake Harrell, who had a 4-year contract still in place as ECU's football head coach, he got a pay raise as a part of a revised contract. So his 4-year deal, which also runs through the 2029 season, annual compensation went from $1.3 million to $1.5 annually. The same stipulation that was in his previous deal. If he goes to a bowl game in 2026, 27, or 28, he gets a 1-year rollover for basically making. So, for example, to make it simple, he's got a 4-year deal now. If he makes a bowl game this season, then he would get an extra year on his contract, so he would still have another 4-year deal. Increased incentives, and then I haven't gotten the particulars on this yet, but basically if he gets 7, 8, or 9+ wins, his annual compensation will adjust accordingly in terms of going up. So incentivize win totals, which I'm a big fan of. Also the buyout portion of it, if he gets bought out for next year to go to another job, it would cost – that team would have to pay ECU $1.8 million. So that's the buyout for that. And it goes down to 1.3 the following year. But again, if he were to get that 1 year added on, it would revert back to 1.8. So does that make sense? Did I explain all that?
I think so. I'm tracking.
Bobby, your thoughts on these two news items? Obviously, on of course, they had to drop this on opening day. Make all of our lives that much more difficult. But big news, regardless.
Yeah, I'm a fan on both ends of it. One, you increase the buyout for Blake, as it's been discussed. Good chance if we have the season that we think we could potentially have in the American next year, he gets poached. So you increase the buyout, which then adds to our funds and money. In terms of the Gilbert stuff, I'm glad they extended him. I think 3 years is a perfect time frame for it. We were talking a little bit pre-show, and I'm very curious to those listeners out there. If you have qualms with this, please comment your qualms, because I really don't understand them. Because some of the things that I've laid out were, one, the financial mess that we were in from the regime before. We're coming out of that because of John Gilbert. Okay, you got all the funding and stuff from facilities that have been built or are near completion. That's under him as well. Fundraising in general is at an all-time high. I know there's some qualms about the scheduling, but to me, that's unfair to hold Gilbert to the fire based upon how the scheduling has changed within college football. The reality is P4 teams are just not going to G5 places anymore to play. That's just not happening, so you can't hold it against them. And to me, the only kind of mark on his record is the basketball hire, which, in fairness, nobody to date from an AD perspective has figured it out. You could argue the process and all that stuff, but the coach has been the incorrect coach in place, but the funding and stuff that has been resources put into basketball has drastically increased under his regime as well.
I want to build off one point you made, Bobby, about the scheduling. Under John Gilbert, we have been bought out of some football scheduling. John Gilbert did not sign the contracts that allowed us to be bought out very cheaply. He inherited the contracts, and there was nothing, West Virginia and Wake, there's nothing he could have done to have fixed those. Just saying.
And again, these teams are going to more 9-game conferences, and their conferences are recommending to not play group of 5 teams on the road. It's just a tough situation.
Well, 9 games conference, 1 P4 opponent, so that's 10 games. You almost guarantee a 11th game is an FCS, so then that leaves a 12th for most likely a G5, but they're going to want it at home.
And the biggest thing for me is, in the past, we've seen the ECU Board of Trustees make these decisions, and they almost give out too long of a contract or too much money. You know, like I think when Jeff Comfer got his contract extension, when everybody, like 90% of people were against it, it was like a 5-year deal, which was just like over the top. And this one's a 3-year deal. I think it's fair on both sides. The Blake Harrell revised contract, like he went from one of the lowest paid coaches in the league to, you know, now upper middle. And it's heavily incentivized, which I think is great. Like, to me, these are fiscally responsible moves, Wags. Your take on it, as obviously, you know, part-time media guy and also, you know, a fan of the programs as well.
Yeah, I think you and Bobby both hit it on the head. You know, you look at Gilbert, and he, you know, when he came in, it was a very unstable athletic department as a whole, pretty much everywhere you looked outside of baseball. And now look at where it is now. It's football's on the rise and getting better. Basketball is basketball, but like Bobby said, like, who else has fixed basketball? Who else will fix basketball moving forward? I just don't know if it's an issue that you can pin on the AD. You can't. And, you know, with Blake, obviously he's a great football coach. And a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but there were some people who thought maybe you don't promote from within when you hired him, and he's proven everyone wrong. And, you know, like Bobby said, if he has a good year next year, then there's a good chance a lot of other teams are going to come calling for Blake Harrell. So giving him money, giving yourself some more security if he does decide to leave, if you're in that situation, it's safe, it's responsible, and I think it's the right move on both ends. So,
and, you know, there were some people who said, let's give Gilbert a 1-year extension, let him hire a basketball coach, or a 2-year extension, let him hire a basketball coach, see if he can fix it, and then go from there. But to me, then you're just not setting yourself up to make a decent basketball hire at all, because no basketball coach is going to want to come to a lame duck AD. So it's like, you got to, if you're going to extend them, you got to commit to it. Just to kind of give you an idea of some of the potential mixed opinions here, we have back-to-back comments. Ryan Cole says, happy to hear both JG and Blake Harrell were extended. The next comment from Aaron says, not ideal. Gilbert isn't aggressive enough when we need it at most at a crucial timing in the landscape of conferences.
Can I comment on that?
Go
or
for
do
it.
You want to?
You go first.
Yeah. My thing with that is he's just not public about it. Like, and you can, maybe you want an AD that's public about it. You could argue Jeff Comfer was kind of public about it, but how did that hire turn out? Just because somebody's public or not public about it doesn't mean there's not workings and things happening behind the scenes. And there's a lot of committee and things. Wag said it as we were discussing this before the show, like, this 3-year window kind of lines up with the next conference realignment. And that, you know, John is on a ton of committees and has a lot of insight into what's happening. Every time you've had him on the show and asked those questions about what's next, he's been right on the head.
Yeah, look, John, and I can see why some people, you know, want a more forward, you know, speaking AD. Hey, we want to go to the ACC, we want to do this, that. And I don't disagree with that. You got to have a vision, I've said, and I don't have a problem with being more public about it. Sometimes you have to have a public vision to reach it. But I do think ECU is just trying to be the best athletic department it can be, and then put itself in position when the next realignment comes to, all right, you know, can we catch a few breaks? And mainly, can we stabilize us and continue to win in football, win a championship in the American, win in basketball, which may or may not require a different coach, and continue to elevate that way, and then the rest will obviously take care of itself. I mean, look, we've seen Memphis, USF, you know, kind of putting themselves out there. They're still in the American. I mean, like, it doesn't guarantee anything. Now they're spending more. We'll see how that turns out, but I don't know. Phil, you want to add something?
Yeah, so look, people in Greenville, in East Carolina, feel like we've been left behind in the past, and that's why they're asking for the more forward-thinking AD. That is 100% understandable. But to Bobby's point, John, I think, is saying these things behind closed doors. He's just not as public about it. But here's what matters when it comes to conference realignment. A conference doesn't care how loud your AD is a conference cares how much money you are willing to invest. It was released earlier in the week. We had a 4-year high of money being brought into the program. That's on John Gilbert. So John is doing what it takes to get us in that spot. The verbiage side of things is not, the ACC is not like, oh, that guy's a loudmouth that really wants to come here. We're choosing him. No, they're going to say, we want the guy who knows how to raise enough funds to come be a part of our conference. Well, what's John Gilbert doing? He's been the best fundraising AD we've ever had.
And there are a lot of layers to it as well. Like, we haven't gotten into it too much. I want to get into it maybe next week, Philip, on there's a potential tax bill that could go to the public schools of North Carolina that could really infiltrate a lot of money that could go into the sports department. I think if that were to come to pass in the coming year or so, then that would put ECU even in a better financial position because you need money to compete in these bigger leagues. And obviously you get the TV contract, but you need other revenue streams as well. All right.
Is that tied into the gambling one?
Yeah, the tax gambling
yeah.
one,
The Speaker of the House mentioned it.
Yeah,
that they're trying to get this passed where all 5 North Carolina FBS institutions would get equal money that is being brought in through the tax dollars via gambling.
and I think it'd be between 12 and 18 million or something in that range.
Yeah, something
annually,
like that. Yeah,
which is, I mean, that'd be massive. You know, because you can only take so much state funding from the academic side to put in athletics, unlike a school like USF,
right,
which just gave itself an $18 million internal loan or something like that.
Yeah, but they also have like 30,000 more students than us, and they have 50,000. They're like top 10 or something in undergrad enrollment in the country.
So there's just a lot of layers to it. All right, a couple more comments before we get a break in. Joe Josh wants to know, were any of us born the last time the basketball team went to the tournament? I was 1 year old in 1993. What about you guys?
Depending what, I was born in 90, so I was definitely alive. I was either 2 or 3. I guess it would have been the March of 93, so I would have been 2.
I'm a 99 baby, so I'm a little bit off there.
Yeah, just -6.
I was -5. My parents were married, if that counts. So maybe I had been talked about being here, but I was not here.
The thing that's wild to me about that too is like both times we've made the tournament, we were like 9th or 10th in the conference and went on a run in the conference tournament. It's not like we made it being dominant in our league either.
Yeah,
so like we've never been.
Maybe this is your third year.
Because not this year. We're too late in the year. We're too late in the year.
You never know.
We got to make the
North
conference
Texas
tournament.
win. That North Texas win last night over Memphis hurt ECU's chances a lot.
Yeah, that's tough. And they need to win at Rice on Saturday to have any shot, realistically. So, all right, enough hoops talk. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We will transition to baseball. A sport ECU has legitimate national title aspirations. Opening day is today. We'll discuss that and more. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome, man. Hoist the Colors, second segment here. A few more things tying up our first segment. We'll dive more into this Monday. The extension of John Gilbert, also the revised contract. I have the official terms of the deals at that time, but a few comments before we get into baseball. Aaron following up saying, I would argue being outspoken is more for this fan base to rally them and potentially increase investment. And I agree. Like, I think ECU does identify with the chip on your shoulder, out there mentality. But, yeah, I just think John Gilbert's very realistic. And there's two ways to go about it, and that's just his style. Another comment, Davy Jones says, the main thing I feel hurts East Carolina is if there's any realignment in the future to a bigger conference, is the attendance at our home games. Well, Davey, ECU leads the group of five in attendance, and I agree it could be better, but if ECU got into a bigger league with bigger opponents, I think it would only improve. So I think ECU's attendance is the least of its concerns, but that's just my opinion. Bobby Harward, Jonathan Wagner with us, Philip Pilkinen here. By the way, who's representing you today, Bobby, on our sponsorship?
Sup Dogs.
Sup Dogs.
Yeah.
Thanks. I forgot to ask. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I normally try to let y'all know. Drew, we take each of our kids out for a date for Valentine's Day, the week of. Drew, I got my youngest. I got
all
to take
three kids?
Yeah, all three.
Oh.
So, I take the two girls. Brittany takes Dacre. But I took Drew last night, the youngest of our three. Her first ever date, she wanted Sup Dogs, so we went to Sup Dogs. She actually fell out of her booster seat onto the floor. But they were great because they got, all those little drink mixers that have the little palm trees and stuff. They got her a bunch of those, and she was happy as a clam. But she crushed 2 hot dogs, wanted a third. I did not allow it.
Jeez.
Wow.
2 years old, yeah.
That's insane. That's good, though. It's good eating.
Yeah, I mean, she loves Sup Dogs. It's fantastic. Who doesn't? I got a creamsicle crush. It was great.
If she's eating like that, local female athletes have had a lot of success in the ECU softball program. Just saying.
Hey, and Brittany throws it about as hard as I do and has a history as a softball player, so I think the genes are strong in that one.
There you go.
Check them out, Sup Dogs, 213 East 5th Street. Who knows? You may even see Jonathan Wagner there before the day is over. Gentlemen, it is opening day. And, there's a lot of good sports days, but opening day, just the phrase, it, sends a little tingle down your spine, chill bumps going, man. I'm jacked up. What I'm not jacked up about is the fact that it is how many degrees outside?
Wags, I was going to ask you, do you have a bigger coat? Because you get cold pretty easy. You only got a quarter zip on.
Don't worry. I have never forgotten when we played Ole Miss in the Leclerc Classic when I was an intern, and I was shaking in the post-game press conference on the field, and Cliff Godwin said we need to get this kid a jacket. So ever since then, I have come prepared for baseball games. I have another jacket in my car.
I was about to say, if you want me to loan you my Bruins jacket that I brought, I can, but I don't think you'll wear it.
What do you want to see today, Wags, from the CCU baseball team? The lineup?
Well, I want to see the lineup. I want to see the bullpen management. I want to see everything. I really like this team, and I want to just see it with my own eyes, against a real opponent when it matters. And it's a different animal. Grady Linehan, especially center fielder, probably really high expectations for him. So I want to see what he looks like and how he fares. in this crowd. And just there's so many pieces. We talked about the versatility across the lineup, especially just who's going to go where, who's going to come in later in the games as defensive replacements, who's going to finish the game. That's what I'm excited to see, because I do think, I've said it before, but I think there's probably a two deep just about at every position of guys you feel pretty comfortable starting. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out, because that's not always a good thing, but I'm hoping it is for this team.
It'll be Ethan Norby going for ECU, the left-hander, and opposing him today for Xavier will be, let's see if I can get it. Of course, my computer locks up. Peach, the right-hander. Really good numbers, Cape Cod League participant. And, a little wild, but throws hard, good stuff, swing and miss stuff. And Ryan Peach, Piech, will go for Xavier, 4 o'clock first pitch. So you got a good pitching matchup right off the bat, Bobby. And it's, these opening day games are always weird. Usually pretty low scoring, usually a close game. So we'll see, I think, pretty early how the Pirates handle maybe some adversity.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this kind of ties in to what I'm looking forward to, which is the hitting approach of this team with the new hitting coach and Coach Gautreau. And is it still a lot of the Cliff-isms in small ball, or do we see some bombs out of the Pirate lineup here? And I'm going to make a bold prediction that we hit 4 home runs this weekend. I don't know if that's bold or not, but that's what I'm going for. I know it's cold. I know it's cold outside, but we're going to mash.
It's bold, but Scott Lorbatcher on our Bucks on the Pond podcast, he said 5. So
he said 5.
Are you willing
to
match him?
I'll match him.
Yeah.
I'll match him. Yeah.
All right, we got some stakes now.
Yeah.
Philip, we talked about it a lot, but now that it's here, opening day, what do you wanting to see most on this Friday game in particular?
I want to see that changeup. They say he's developed it. He needs to become a slightly better strikeout pitcher against right-handed hitters. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody's saying he needs to be slightly better. Like, if he wants to be a big league arm, and I think right now those are legit aspirations, he, at his size, is going to have a little bit more swing and miss against the righties. So let me see that changeup. Let me see how good it really is.
You and CBA in the chat must be thinking a lot alike, because he says, I want to see if Norby can have a usable changeup. If he has found that this offseason, he could be unhittable. I mean, that's the thing. He has basically done it in the past with fastball, obviously his two-seamer to go along with it, and his slider. But when he does leave his slider over the plate, or when another team guesses fastball, particularly right-handers, I mean, he can be prone to home runs. So if he can add a legit changeup consistently, I think he can be, he obviously already is a true number one, but I think he can be even that much better. So some news that I heard this morning from a source. Xavier, it sounds like, still a very capable team, but Connor Mitch, their preseason Big East Player of the Year, who started all 59 games last season, hit .332, 65 hits, .485 on base percentage, and 50 RBIs. He is likely out this weekend. Concussion protocol, it sounds like. So, along with a few other guys, they're dealing with some injuries. Obviously, ECU, we know Braxton Trammell, unlikely to go. So, some news and notes there. And I'm hearing, Wags, we could see, this is not confirmed, just you hear a lot of talk these days. We could see freshman Grady Linehan hit in the heart of the order, maybe the 3 spot right out of the gate. We'll see. We'll see when the lineup comes out.
Yeah, that'd be something. And it would also be the second year in a row we've had a true freshman batting in a 3-hole.
Yeah.
Austin Irby last year. So last year we talked about how much it spoke about Irby, how he's earned that with the coaching staff. Because usually it takes the freshmen a little bit of time they start in the bottom of the order, kind of platoon, and then they work their way up. But if Linehan's hitting 3-hole today, then it just shows that he's earned it, and he's the real deal in the staff's eyes. So I'm excited for it. No pressure, kid.
And what should be a better lineup than last year's?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jansen Kid in the chat, he says, what is the most glaring hole for this year's team? What is your biggest concern? For me, it's shortstop. I mean, I don't know who's going to be a shortstop today. Matt Lashley is the defensive player. He's been slowed by a leg injury. And then, Carlos Hakame, I think, can play shortstop. He's more of a second baseman probably. Do we see somebody surprising there? I don't know. That's me, the biggest concern. Anybody else have something different or want to echo those thoughts?
It's not really a concern, but with Braxton Trammell being out I think your backup to Colby Wallace, if, God forbid, he gets hurt, or if he goes to the mound to pitch late in the game, it's kind of who's that next guy up at third base.
Yeah.
And, it might be Austin Irby. He slides from first to third, but then it's the same question at first. Is Alex Boucher next? How is his defense at first base? So I talked a lot about versatility and defense late in games, but I think that could be a question. But, who knows? We'll probably see Braden Burris play there at least once this season if I had to guess, and some of those other guys too. So, but that's one of the other things I'm looking for.
Well, I hope that we don't have to see Braden Burris play there. No knock against Braden, but he is vertically challenged, and at first base, it's not a good accolade to have. My question, and I sound like a broken record here, but you bring up backup third baseman. Who's the backup catcher? Because we can't have Walker getting hell beat out of him every single inning all year long.
Yeah, and I've heard Kalinic might be a strong DH option as well out of the gate. So if that's the case, then Blake Carver would be your, unless you want to lose your DH, would be your backup catcher for our opener if Kalinic is DH. And so we'll see. And doubleheader, we'll see who's back there on Saturday. We haven't really, guys, discussed the rotation. Also was set officially. We kind of hinted at it. Norby, Gavin Van Kempen, the West Virginia transfer, Colby Weber will go third, the freshman. And 2 6'7" right-handers rounding out your rotation. I'm excited. I'm going to limit my expectations, guys. It's opening weekend, pitch counts, but I don't know. Are we excited about seeing these 2 6'7" righties toe the hill?
100%. That was my biggest takeaway of the pitching rotation, which I don't remember having that 1 6'7" pitcher. I mean, it's been a while if it has, at least to my mind.
Jaden Winter was 6'5", but
is Gavin 6'6"?
Gavin was 6'8", yeah.
Is he that tall?
He's
tall.
Gavin Williams, he might be listed. Let's see.
I think he's like 6'6", but still.
Yeah, but not just one, guys, but two that you're trotting out there.
6'6", 250.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big old, yeah.
So he's Cam Newton's size.
Dude, Van Kempen walk around the basketball game the other day, he looked like a basketball player. I mean, he was huge.
Yeah.
6'7", 240. So
and, I mean, that was the Orioles' approach at the trade deadline last year, is just getting a ton of, super big pitchers. And so I'm excited to see these two guys throw tomorrow. I think it's going to be intriguing. I mean, I know what Norby is. I am excited to see how the changeup looks. I'm sure y'all are happy because he works quick, so that means y'all will probably get home quick tonight. But I'm excited to see the two guys throw tomorrow.
What are your realistic expectations, Wags, for Weber and Van Kempen?
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit when the news came out yesterday that we were playing a doubleheader on Saturday, I was a little concerned about Weber, his first career start, being on the back half of a doubleheader. I just like a freshman being able to have a normal work day on his first game at least. So, our friend Scott Lowerbatcher, I think, disagreed with me, and he said, he loves it. He's been being in the environment all day, and maybe that'll help him. But for me, it's just the sitting around and then kind of getting warmed up and ready to go as another game is ending and then in between. It's a little bit of a concern, but to me, it's just go out and show that you can pitch, both of them. Well, Van Kempen, the pressure is on him in my eyes. I think you need, a good 5 innings out of him. Just less pressure on Colby Weber, less pressure on the bullpen, because you never know what can happen in a doubleheader.
My worry with the doubleheader, it's not as much there's another game going on as much as you don't know what time you're going to start. Normally, 3 hours before first pitch, I do this. 2 hours before I do this. What's 3 hours before first pitch? I mean, you don't know. I think that's the frustrating thing. It's like tennis, right? Where you're sitting there we'll start when this other match ends. It could end now or it could end 2 hours from now. So that's kind of my worry, I guess. It's just, his first college game, you want it to be somewhat routine.
Makes sense for sure, and looking forward to seeing how those guys perform really under the lights. West Virginia, I think, had a decent crowd, but probably nothing like Van Kempen will see as this season goes along, especially once the weather warms. And then, obviously, freshmen pitching in this environment for the first time. We'll see how it goes on Saturday. All right, when we come back, we're going to transition. We're going to have a fun exercise. We teased this yesterday with Casey and Romeli from Carolina Curveball. Build your all-time Cliff Godwin lineup, pitching, infield, outfield. We'll do that on a budget after this on Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Get ready to board.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors, here on a Friday. Not a football Friday, an opening day Friday for ECU baseball. And we also discussed the big news earlier, the contract extension of AD John Gilbert, contract revision of head coach Blake Harrell. So we'll get more into that next week. But talking baseball today, and let's get to this fun exercise, gentlemen, that Kason Romeli had the idea, former Hoist the Colors intern like Wags, and he now runs Carolina Curveball, to build the – at first he was talking about just doing like the all-time ECU team. I think it was that would have been impossible. So we decided to do Cliff Godwin, 2015 season on, all-time ECU team, and what we did was a build your pitching staff graphic with a $12 budget with different arms split into the $4, $3, $2, and $1 category. You can see all this if you go to our Instagram, Hoist the Colors Instagram, or our Twitter on the media tab. And a $12 budget to build your infield, which consists of catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, and then obviously a $10 budget to build your outfield with a utility player who, could be a guy who plays all over like Braden Burst, or a two-way guy like Alec Burleson. Our first comment on Instagram was from Alec Burleson, who was mad that we left him off the pitching graphic.
I saw that.
So he is on the utility graphic. And so for this exercise, we'll do it all together, build your team on a budget. And we spent about an hour and a half talking through this stuff because the difficult thing was, like, a lot of these outfielders played multiple positions, and so we kind of got down to some scarce outfielders or guys who maybe you don't know as well as some of these other people, but for the most part, star-studded lineup, and no matter what direction you went, you're going to have a good team. So who wants to go first with the team they constructed? And if you want to participate in the chat, feel free as well. We got a lot of good comments on this. Anybody want to step up and go first?
Yeah, I'll do it. Well, what kind of format we want to go here? Just
your whole team.
Okay. Let me pull it back up.
Yep, let's go pitchers on down, and feel free to give you can share any analysis on what some of your tough decisions were or whatnot.
All right, so my rotation, and just for the record, I went column by column, one
Yes.
from each column. I think that's the technical way to do this.
That's
but
how we
you can do
designed
differently.
it. We had some people who still met the budget but picked different people from the same column, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I started off in the rotation. Trey Savage is my $4, CJ Mayhew is my $3, and Tyler Smith is my $1. And bullpen, I went Danny Beal, $3, Davis Kirkpatrick, $1. With Kirkpatrick, I'm banking on his last year.
Yeah.
And Danny Beal is just Danny Beal.
You can throw every day.
Yeah, throw it. You need one of those guys, especially because we only have a 5-man pitching staff here. We need a Danny Beal. But Savage was a no-brainer to me. He was so dominant when he was here. Mayhew, his highs were really high as well. When he was in the rotation, he was good. When he was in the bullpen, he was good. So he brings versatility too. And Tyler Smith at his peak, he was a good number 2 starter. I know it didn't end the way he would want to, but even at his floor, I think he was a pretty good, at worst, a midweek type of starter or a guy who can give you length out of the bullpen. So that's what I went pitching-wise. Catcher, I went Jake Washer, $2. Thomas Francisco, $2 at first base. Second base, I went Dixon Williams for $3. Third base, Connor Litton for $1. And shortstop, Turner Brown for $4. And there, my thinking at shortstop was just, I don't think you can afford the anchor that position has been for the last 11 years, unfortunately. And I know, you're going to have something different, but that's just where my mindset was. And I love the Jake Washer, Thomas Francisco, Dixon Williams, Connor Litton. Connor Litton, he wasn't elite by any means, but he was still a very serviceable guy. And in my lineup, he's going to be hitting like 7 or 8. So love that. And I rounded it out. Utility, I went Zach Agnos at $3. So he's a bullpen guy too. He's starting at shortstop, sneak peek. And my outfield, Dewanye Williams-Sutton for $2, Garrett Brooks in center field for $2, and Carter Cunningham for $3. So I think I built a well-rounded lineup there and got a little speed, defense, and a lot of pop too.
Good lineup indeed. And I think you got some of the best values that I also got, like Dewanye for $2 at his best. I mean, he was a really good all-conference player. And I think there's, the Jake, like the catching position has been so good. It was hard. We went back and forth on Will Coxon and Washer for 2 and 3. Will Coxon had a little bit more longevity, but both those guys were really good. So Washer for $2 and Francisco for $2 is a steal as well.
Those were the easy no-brainer picks on my mind.
All right. You want to go next, Bob?
Yeah, I'll go next.
All right.
So I kind of screwed up the pitching because I just picked 3 starters and 2 relief guys.
That's fine.
So I didn't go column by column. But, yeah, I went Trey Savage. I think that was an obvious one. Still, that Wake Forest game in the regional is still the funnest baseball game I've been to in person. I went Carson Wisenhunt, $2, and then rounded out the 3-man rotation with Jake Hunter for $1. For relievers, I went Danny Beal. I don't see how you have a Cliff Godwin bullpen without Danny Beal in it. And then
he's pitching tonight too.
Yeah. And then the last reliever, I originally had Davis Kirkpatrick, partially because just my relationship with Donnie. But because I had $1 to spare, I just moved up 1 and got Garrett Saylor there. So that's my pitching there with the Savage, Wisenhunt, and Hunter. And then Beal and Saylor in the bullpen.
And I think pitching, if you're going to not go by the columns, like it's the most fair because those guys, they're all the same. I mean, in terms of they're pretty much positionless, I should say. So I'm cool with that. All right, infield.
Infield, catcher, just like Wags, I went Jake Washer. First base, I went Josh Moylan. Second base, I went Starman. I could not get that walk-off NC State game out of my head, so I went Starman. Even though Connor Norby's former Oriole, I taught Dixon Williams in high school, still the Starman stood out to me.
Second base is a star-studded position. Even Charlie Yorgan was a dog back in the day.
Shortstop, I went third base, I went Colby Wallace. Did anybody ever pick AMAC? That's my question.
I think
Scott
outside of
Lorbatcher
me. Did he?
But he also kind of cheated, so.
Stay tuned. That's all I'll say.
Maybe AMAC's family, but I think all the ECU fans are still pretty scarred.
They are.
And then shortstop, I went Ryder Giles.
Solid group for sure. And Ryder, despite lack of hitting, he played a really good shortstop. Philip, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll take it next. Wait, did you do your
I
outfield?
haven't done my
He
outfield
has
yet.
his outfield,
my
yeah,
bad.
Yeah. Alec Burleson is my utility guy. Dwanye Williams-Sutton is my outfielder with Lane Hoover and then Parker Lamb. In full disclosure, I think I told you guys I did not remember Parker Lamb, but I needed to fit somebody in the right fielder. But based upon my lineup construction, and you said he was a great bunter, he goes into my 9-hole, and then boom, we're set.
It is a Cliff Godwin team after all.
There you go. Yeah. That's right.
Parker Lamb may be the OG sack king of the Cliff Godwin era. All right, Philip.
All righty. So starting with my pitching here, I took Carson out of that top row. I know Trey's sounds like a no-brainer, but to me, for budget reasons, man, Carson only $2. Like, we forget, I think, how good he is and how good he probably would have been his junior year had he not, been suspended indefinitely. So I got Carson there. Going with my next guy, I got Gavin, then Tyler Smith. It's an ECU Cliff Godwin bullpen, so Danny Beal. And then shout out to Hickory Ridge High School. Had to get my fellow bull in there, Ethan Young. So those are my pitchers. Moving over to the infield, I put J-Dub behind the plate, Franny at first, Starman at second, Litton at third, and Turner Brown, kind of the same thing as Wags here. Look, I love Ryder and those other guys, man, but you got to, with shortstop, got to have a good shortstop, and TB's the only guy I 100% trust. Going over to the utilities, shout out to the Colorado Rockies, who are bad, but there's one part of their team that ain't bad, and that is my boy Zach Agnos. I got Dewanye, Lane Hoover, and then I went with Lowry as my final outfielder.
Our lineups are very similar in I think we have the same outfield utility, Philip. I'll go backwards here because I also have Agnos, Dewanye, Hoover, Lowry. For me, Lowry as his final year at ECU, which was the first under Cliff Godwin, I think he hit like 13 bombs, so I'm going for that corner outfield pop. Also, Dewanye at his best, stolen base threat, power threat.
And if he lands on the wall and snaps his back in the middle of the game, he might be back the next day.
Exactly. Yeah, and then Hoover in center, you got two power guys in the corners, and then Hoover in center who can go get it. Also, leadoff guy. And then I went Agnos utility too, just because I didn't have the money for Burleson. Obviously, you would like to have Burley, but for me, Zach being able to close and potentially play shortstop, because my shortstop pick was Joey Barini. I went, opposite of you, Wags. I'm either just going to go to the bottom or to the top, and I went bottom for Barini. Took him at $1. I went Connor Norby at second. I just feel like that value of his hitting ability at second was too much to pass up. I went Washer and Francisco at catcher and first base, and I went Amac third base. I need a switch hitter in my lineup who could drop some tanks.
Wow.
And good defense. Let's be real. Amac, when he was in ECU uniform, he was a dang good player.
Well, this makes sense, Philip, because this is the guy that said go Pack during our pickup. So this makes a lot of sense.
And you guys call me a UNC fan.
Yeah.
And if you give ECU NC State Amac, they'd be in Omaha.
Are you going to allow? Who's managing this team though?
I'm managing this.
Okay, are you going to let him swing before he's got 2 strikes on him?
Absolutely. He's free reign, man. I'm giving him the Elliot Avon approach. All right, and my pitching staff to round it out, I went with Carson Wisenhunt in column 1, and I went Gavin Williams in column 2, Evan Krasinski, workhorse number 3 in column 3, has one of the few super regional wins in ECU history at Texas Tech. In the bullpen, I went Cam Colmore for $1. I think for value-wise, he can go short stint or long stint. I really like that value through a lot as well. And then Ethan Young for $2, dude throwing 98, 99 by the end of last season. He's got a special future ahead in the pros. So there are our picks.
Great value on Colmore.
Yeah, I think he's one of the more sneaky $1 options. But, tough to go wrong on any of these, any configuration. So I enjoyed that. Hope you guys did as well. Check it out again, our social media channels. Make your own lineup. Predict our picks as well. Let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow-cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and gold.
Yo! Ho, ho!
And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final few minutes here. Been a fun show. Bobby Harward in studio, brought to you by Sup Dogs. Jonathan Wagner in studio, brought to you by Opening Day for ECU Baseball. We got Philip Pilkington also producing ECU Hoops on the road this weekend. They need a win at Rice, gentlemen. 2 o'clock tip-off for the standings purposes in order to make the conference tournament. Really need this one. But we could talk about that, but it's very rare that we have, A, 2 Commanders fans in studio at the same time, but also, B, 1 Orioles fan and 1 Nationals fan. So who's going to be better this year between the Orioles and Nationals, gentlemen?
Come on, man. I don't even know if that is that a serious question?
That's just not nice. I drive all this way to sound like a treat.
I was just, Nationals. Nationals obviously projected to be, I think, the worst team in baseball up there.
The Rockies are supposed to be, but if you ask me, it's going to be the Nats. Look at that pitching staff.
Yeah. But at least they are going about it better than the Rockies. Like, I don't even know what the Rockies' plan is. They have no plan.
At least the Nats, it's a new regime. It's the analytical side. They're all young up-and-comers. So hopefully it changes player development and some of the prospects don't flame out like all the ones that David Martinez and Mike Rizzo did.
So if you are a Nats fan like yourself, you're looking forward to watching C.J. Abrams this year, I think.
Before he's traded.
I'd rather get traded.
So you're looking forward to watching James Wood.
Dalen Lyle. One of the best hitters in baseball when he got called up last year.
What about Dylan Cruz? Is he a lost cause? Does he have a shot?
No, like I said, new regime, new approach to hitting. So this is the year. It's make or break for Dylan Cruz. So that excites me. And, yeah, Abrams, I'd just rather trade him, restock the farm, because I don't think he's your shortstop by the time you're going to be competitive again.
You got Brady House, too. Does his bat reach its potential?
Yep.
That's another question.
Same thing with Cruz for me. So
Harry Ford coming over from Seattle. I'm looking forward to watching him. He was blocked by Cal Raleigh catcher. All right, and the O's, Bobby, are just spending money left and right, man, just like you always wanted. Is it going to result in anything?
Are we the New York Yankees or what? This is I'm just really glad. I texted you this. I'm glad that they just went out and got another arm. I was worried that they were going to go into the season with what they had. That has kind of been Mike Elias's MO. They signed Chris Bassett, who I think is solid. And then on top of that, he's got Eastern North Carolina roots, lives in Washington in the offseason, added bonus.
Man, opening day for college baseball obviously gets me fired up for MLB. We'll have MLB specials. MLB playoff odds have dropped on Fangraphs, gentlemen. The Orioles have a 19% chance to win, arguably the toughest division in the American League, probably, and a 35% chance to make the playoffs, higher than the Blue Jays. Or, excuse me, a 54% chance to make the playoffs. That was to clinch a wild card. So they've got a shot. The Mariners have an 8.5% chance to win the World Series.
We don't need to talk about the Nats. I'm pretty sure they're 0.0 to make the playoffs.
The Nationals, 0.6 to make the playoffs.
Let's go.
0.0. They cannot win the World Series.
Wow.
Fangraphs.
Better luck next year.
Rockies do have a lower win total. All right, we got to get out of here. Bobby Harward, Philip Pilkington, Jonathan Wagner. We'll see you Monday, 12 noon. Everybody enjoy opening weekend. We'll see you then.